SKOL Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fans, this week for the Vikings is on fire. We're coming off a tough loss and already dealing with breaking news before facing the Browns in London. There's big news about our quarterback, a historic showdown against a rookie who has never played in the league, good and bad surprises on offense, major concerns on defense, and an injury report that leaves everyone speechless. But hold on, because the last update is one that will shake the entire Vikings nation and could completely change the direction of this season. Now, before we dive into these stories, let me talk to you real quick. Subscribe to the channel. It costs nothing, it's free, and it helps strengthen this fan-to-fan conversation. And don't forget to hit the like button, because it makes YouTube show this video to more Vikings fans around the world. And drop a comment below, because this space belongs to all of us, to the entire Purple Faithful living every detail of this team. To be honest with you, this matchup against the Browns turned into a headline even before the ball gets kicked in London. Carson Wentz is still carrying the load in place of J.J. McCarthy, but the real headline is on the other side. The Browns have decided to bench veteran Joe Flacco and throw rookie Dillon Gabriel into the fire. And this is no ordinary debut. He will become the first rookie quarterback in history to make his debut in an international NFL game. That's historic, folks, and only here you'll get this fan-driven perspective on the Vikings. And here's the catch. Facing a rookie can be Brian Flores' sweet spot. This man is practically a cheat code against first-year quarterbacks. The numbers don't lie. Blitz rate among the highest in the league, pressure rate near the top, and 4 straight wins against rookie quarterbacks since he took over the Vikings defense. Imagine a kid who has thrown only 3 passes in the league trying to figure out Flores' exotic schemes. It could be a nightmare for him and candy for us, but the story gets more complicated. Our offensive line is in shambles, and lining up across from them is none other than Myles Garrett, the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He already has 4 sacks and matches up against a unit that has allowed 18 sacks in 4 games, the worst mark in the entire league so far. If Garrett is fully healthy and facing an improvised offensive line, the picture looks rough. Fans and the Defend the North faithful know every snap is going to be heart-stopping, and we can't ignore the injuries. Ryan Kelly is in concussion protocol, Donovan Jackson is out for the season, and Brian O'Neill is week to week with a sprained knee. That means Wentz, no matter how experienced, won't have time in the pocket and will be an easy target. And let's be honest, we're tired of seeing Vikings quarterbacks getting hammered. So comment if you agree the real battle in London isn't Gabriel versus Wentz, but Flores versus the Browns rookie and Garrett against our battered purple wall. Stay tuned, because if that already left you uneasy, the next story brings a surprising breath of hope that could shift the equation. Amid all the bad news, finally a little light shows up at the end of the tunnel. The Vikings announced that 2-time Pro Bowl fullback C.J. Ham is back. And let me tell you, outsiders might call it minor, but for those who follow this team daily, it's a big deal. Ham is that versatile guy who can block, help the running game, and sneak into the passing attack. With our offensive line in pieces, he becomes almost like a Swiss Army knife for Kevin O'Connell. To be honest, no one expects Ham to fix every protection issue. But he's another reliable piece, especially on third downs, where the offense has stalled week after week. O'Connell has talked about it, how those long third downs have killed drives. Against the Steelers, 6 sacks, 3 of them coming exactly in those high-pressure situations. So having someone who can give the quarterback just 1 more second already makes a difference. And anyone who follows football knows, sometimes a single second decides the game. The stat sheet is ugly. The Vikings have given up sacks on almost 14% of dropbacks this year. That's the worst start in franchise history and one of the worst in league history. For context, McCarthy has been sacked on 40% of his pressures. Wentz, more experienced, has still gone down on almost 30%. This isn't just a quarterback issue, because when 2 completely different styles of quarterbacks suffer in the same way, the system itself is broken. That's where Ham comes in. O'Connell can't rebuild the offensive line overnight, but he can add tools to keep the offense alive. With Wentz, he's already sprinkled in quicker passes, but with Ham back, he can change formations, confuse defenses, and maybe even get the ground game moving again. Who would have thought a 32-year-old fullback, almost symbolic, returning to help stabilize an offense in chaos? The fans are split. Some believe he can make a difference. Others say it's just a Band-Aid. And you? Do you think Ham changes things, or is it just false hope? Drop a comment. After so much bad news, seeing someone return at least gives us a spark. But that wasn't even the most surprising update, because the next one hits right at the heart of the Defend the North, the future of our first-round quarterback. Now here's the headline that won't leave the fans' minds: J.J. McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell has made it crystal clear. The rookie won't see the field until his ankle is 100% healed. And no, that's not an overreaction because high ankle sprains usually take 6 to 8 weeks to recover. Sunday will already mark more than a month, but the coach doesn't want to risk the kid's future by rushing. To be honest, I agree. Better to lose a game now than lose an entire season of a quarterback who could redefine this franchise. In the meantime, Carson Wentz is holding the fort, and it's not all his fault. 2 interceptions against the Steelers came off tipped passes. O'Connell even said that outside those plays, Wentz ran the offense cleanly, as expected. But let's be real, Wentz isn't who fans want to see leading against heavyweights like the Eagles, Ravens, and Lions after the bye. The Purple Faithful is impatient for McCarthy's return, because only he brings that sense of future everyone is craving. Another huge factor is the offensive line. Neither quarterback had a fair shot. McCarthy had to play without Christian Darrisaw protecting his blind side, while Wentz has already gone full games without Ryan Kelly, without Donovan Jackson, and without Brian O'Neill. It's maddening. It feels like anyone stepping into the Vikings' pocket is just thrown to the wolves. Even female fans are saying, don't bring McCarthy back until the protection is fixed. And they're right. The detail that makes everyone restless is the date. The Eagles' game in Minnesota is set for 5 weeks after his injury. Recovery time usually leans closer to 6 to 8 weeks. So the brutal question is, do they risk him against the team that drafted Wentz back in the day, or let the rookie fully heal, even if it costs another loss? It's a decision that could define the season. What we know, McCarthy is progressing and moving into a more active phase of rehab, but O'Connell stands firm. No shortcuts, and that's where our anxiety as fans kicks in. We want wins now, but we also want the future healthy. Would you hold off until he's fully ready, or would you throw him in against the Eagles? Drop a comment. Because what comes next isn't just about our quarterback. It's about the monster that may or may not be waiting across the line. And here's the Browns' drama. Myles Garrett. The man is listed as day-to-day with an ankle injury, but just thinking about him makes hearts race. We're talking about the league leader in pass rush win rate, already with 5 sacks and more than 20 pressures this season. He is the Browns' defensive heartbeat. Without him, their structure collapses. With him, every Vikings quarterback becomes a target. To be honest, it's almost funny how dependent the Browns are on one player. With Garrett, the defense has an identity. Without him, it's a mystery. The numbers prove it. Their second-best pass rusher has only 2 sacks. The rest barely reach double-digit pressures. So if he doesn't play, or isn't 100% in London, it's like their wall suddenly full of cracks. Here's where it gets spicy. The Browns are handing the ball to a rookie quarterback, making his debut overseas, adjusting to jet lag, and missing 2 top receivers. If you add Garrett possibly being out, they could be limping into a fight against a Vikings team already adjusted to Europe's time zone. Even the travel schedule helps us. We've been overseas since last week while they don't leave until Wednesday. Anyone who has traveled knows. Your body feels it. Now, don't expect a walk in the park. Even without Garrett, the Browns' defense has shown flashes, holding the Packers to 10 points, slowing the Ravens' run game, even stealing a surprise win against the Bengals. But when they faced a hot offense like the Lions, they got crushed. The truth is, without number 95, the fear shifts sides. It's no longer Vikings offense fearing a monster, it's the Browns praying their collective defense holds. The fans are split. Some say facing the Browns without Garrett would be pure luck. Others warn against underestimating opponents. Don't take them lightly, many insist. And that makes sense. In the NFL, if you relax, any team can punish you. But let's be real. Without Garrett, the scale tips heavily our way. And if you thought this was already dramatic, wait for the injury report. The scariest of the season so far. Here comes the gut punch. The first injury report of the week reads like a war list. 8 key Vikings didn't practice on Wednesday. The worst part is nearly the entire offensive line is compromised. Christian Darrisaw on rest, Donovan Jackson out after wrist surgery, Ryan Kelly still in concussion protocol, Brian O'Neill with a sprained knee, and Michael Juergens with a hamstring injury. Add McCarthy, Andrew Van Ginkel, and tight end Ben Urasek. It's brutal. To be honest, I look at this list and wonder, how does a team survive without its interior line? If both Kelly and Juergens are out, O'Connell will have to improvise. Last week we saw Blake Brandel shuffled to center, Joe Huber pushed to guard, Justin Skule rotated in at tackle. It looked more like a puzzle than a professional offensive line, and any fan who's played backyard football knows, if the foundation is patched, the whole thing collapses. Now picture that at NFL level against elite pass rushers. What's crazy is that even with all these absences, O'Connell keeps talking adjustments. He said they hope Juergens returns by Friday, but nothing is guaranteed. The reality, the coach might have to choose between two makeshift offensive line combos, neither tested in a real game. That's terrifying because protection was already our biggest weakness even when the starters were healthy. Now it's basically Russian roulette on every snap, and it's not just offense. Van Ginkel, a vital piece in Flores' scheme, is also on the list. Without him, the defense loses motor, loses the spark that disrupts quarterbacks. Fans know, without that engine, the defense becomes predictable. Add it all up, and you see why this injury report is the most feared of the season so far. This is the kind of news that rattles the Vikings nation. We've seen promising seasons derailed by injuries, and watching such a massive list drop right before an international game feels like déjà vu. It's gut-wrenching, but it's reality. So comment, do you think even with all these setbacks we can beat the Browns in London, or is the tide too heavy? And if you thought this was rough, wait for the conclusion. I'm about to tie it all together and hit you with a hard truth. After everything we've broken down here, it's clear this team is living on the edge. A rookie debut against Flores, a veteran holding down the fort while McCarthy heals, a fullback returning to bring balance, questions about the monster Myles Garrett, and finally, an injury report that looks like a bad joke. The Vikings are on a tightrope, and yet, it's in this chaos where the Defend the North often proves its strength. To be honest, if there's ever a moment for this group to show its soul, it's now. We've seen rosters collapse in situations like this, but we've also seen seasons flipped when nobody believed. This could be one of those moments. Everything depends on how the team responds Sunday and on how much we as fans support and push. Because at the end of the day, this team pulls at us every single day. Drop a comment because this space belongs to everyone who lives the Purple faithful. And stick around for the next video, because just when we think we've seen it all, something new always shows up. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go!